Hello everyone, so I'm sure you're wondering where all of the new weapons, changed weapons, reprised weapons, etc. all fit from the mid-season patch into our current tier list. And so today I'm doing a bit of a different video format, different video structure. I'm currently streaming and I'm gonna go through, however long it takes, 1 or 2 hours to just go through every single weapon here and change everything. But I'm gonna do it nice and slow, and I'll go back through the footage and chop it up. Let me know if it, looks any worse or better. If you like the format more or less. My videos should be a lot less overinflated in duration now if I'm editing them in post, just by talking for a long time. So let's see how this goes. So first up, I think we have shotguns. Okay, so sudden death is now void. It's still an aggressive, not craftable, 4 in the mag, 23 in reserves. Okay, what does this gun have? It has envious, trench, 1-2 punch, cascade, threat, discord. Okay. None of those perks are like bad. So what would you actually want on this though? I think the most prominence would be threat detector, and then it's probably envious assassin, and then probably discord. And the origin trait is what? Crossing over? Crossing over. And then we have, I think trench barrel will be best on this, and then maybe 1-2 punch, and then cascade point after that. I mean, it's certainly better than what it used to. I mean, it doesn't have frenzy anymore, does it? Yeah, it doesn't have frenzy anymore, so you can't use it for swap DPS, but it is a good trench shotgun. I think it's probably a better trench shotgun than comedian, and comedian is like up here. I guess comedian has lead. I think it's a little bit better than deadpan as well. It has more modern perks. Yeah, I think this is just a really good trench shotgun. I'm gonna put it like somewhere over here. I think right here is fine. A sudden death right over here. I think that's okay. And then we're gonna stretch this out. Go back to normal. That's in B tier now. So in terms of the actual shotguns themselves, do we think anything needs to be shifted? So we have deadweight Ikelos SG until it's returned in Heritage and S tier. I think that's still fairly accurate. I think deadweight not having enhanced 1-2 punch is a little bit of a kicker, but it does have so many good perks. So I'm kind of inclined to keep it rank 1 overall in versatility. A tier I think is fine. Yeah, I think this is mostly fine. I think some of these shotguns maybe need to be readjusted a little bit, but I don't think any of them are like major problems. This is all fine, I think. Yep, I think that's fine. C tier is kind of whatever, and then D tier I think I'm fine with as well. I think I put no reprieve a little low from what no, not really. No, I'd still rather use Matador than like no reprieve. Okay, so that's it for shotguns. Let's move on to snipers. Yeah, I don't think there's any snipers that were added or changed. And I went over this already. I don't think any of the snipers really need to move. Yeah, I think this is mostly fine. You have your S tier, which is extreme versatile snipers. You have A tier, which is best in class damage snipers for DPS rotations. You have B tier, which is like utility snipers that are okay for damage. You have C tier, which is like mag perk plus a decent damage perk like firing line. And then you have D tier, which is just like bad. Okay, fusions. Yeah, no fusions as far as I can see. I think Riptide is still S tier, and then I think Scatter Signal is fine in A tier. I think these are all fine. Yeah, I don't really have. I spent a lot of time working on the fusion tier list. I think the fusion tier list is fine. I don't think there needs to be any changes this season. Okay, Breech GLs. We did get a new GL. We got Wildstyle Adept. I have no idea what this thing's reserves are. I'm gonna assume it's 19, like Wilderflight. It's solar. It's a double fire. It has envious assassin. That's it. That's all it has. I mean, I guess you could use stats for all. I don't know about danger zone. I don't know about all that. And then you would have surrounded or like one for all or something. I don't know. Incandescent, I guess, is like a little bit interesting, but that's pretty bad. And then your origin trait, you would want definitely text balance stock. Text balance stock. Okay, where are we putting this thing? I think bottom of C tier is maybe good. I think it's better than Truth Teller and Aura Wings, because it is a double fire. But that no reload perk is so bad, dude. Look at every single like lightweight GL here, right? Every single lightweight GL, doesn't it have a reload perk? So like auto, you have slide and demo, I think, right? Yeah, you have slide and demo. You have, what's a lightweight? That is slideways and auto, right? That has demo. Well, that's an ad clear GL. And then what else? Pardon auto, lingering auto. This doesn't have auto, but this is an ad clear GL. Auto. This thing sucks. I don't know. I might put it in. I might just put it top of D tier and leave it there. I'll just leave it in D tier. Let's go ahead and look at Tusk of the Boar. Tusk of the Boar is really nice. I'm going to assume it is 23 in reserves. GLs almost never deviate from that. Okay, I'm thinking Slideways is good, but probably the third preference perk. I'm thinking the best one might be Slice. Might be Slice, and then Enlightened Action is also nice. I don't know if Envious is better than Slideways. I try to not fit 4 perks into this kind of box. I think Slice is really good on Wayframe. I think Enlightened Action though. Enlightened Action is basically just a neutral perk. Make sure you have 100 reload all the time. And then Slideways. Slideways, I don't know if Slideways is like super good on a Wayframe. I honestly don't know. I think it's better than Envious. I think Envious on a Wayframe is a little silly. Okay. And then we have obviously Chain Reaction, number 1. Hatchling sucks, even though Wayframes kill a lot of ads. Bait and Switch sucks, Swashbuckler sucks, and then Deconstruct. That's a big one. Deconstruct is a big one as well. Okay, what do we have? Skulking Wolf, useless, and Field Tested. Field Tested is not bad either, especially because you're using the Wayframe a lot for roam content. Okay, what are we looking at here? I think Tusk of the Boar is going to end up being probably rank 2, if not rank 1. Listen, so if Deconstruct works the way that we are theorizing that it works on Tusk of the Boar, I think it will be the best Wayframe in the game. I think so. Because imagine having a Wayframe with a Strand debuff application that's very, very easy to use, right? But you also have like infinite ammo. Deconstruct is basically infinite ammo if the perk description works on Tusk of the Boar the way that it does on other weapons. You really value Slice this much? I mean, it's more so that there's nothing that's super good in the first column. Like Enlightened Action, you can simulate having Enlightened Action by just having Strand loader mods on. And then the other stuff in there is like, who cares? You know, like Pulse is bad, Grave is bad. If we had like Lead in the first column, I'd take that over everything else. Okay, so that's Tusk of the Boar. I think it's rank 2. That's where it goes. All right, what do we have next? Glaives. I don't think we need to touch the Glaive list. No new Glaives, and I'm pretty happy with how these were ranked last time. LMGs. I don't think there are any new LMGs this time around. I think it's a lot of primaries. Yeah, no LMGs. I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, these 4 are still very strong LMGs. These 4 are fine. You know, these 4 are decent. You know, yeah, this is all fine, I think. Some people were dogging on me. They were like 7 Seraph Saw is like deserves to be higher. I don't think so. When your best damage perk is Firing Line on a machine gun, it's like a little silly. Okay, GLs, drum GLs. Okay, so we need to add the Hullabaloo. It's arc. It's a compressed wave. Not craftable. I have no idea what its base mag size is. I'm gonna assume it's 5. Reserves. Oh lord, we need to change the reserve values for every single GL here. Yeah, I think Envious, Field, and Volt Shot is fine. And then in the second column, we have a bunch of stuff. I don't know. Chain Reaction, Cascade Point, and maybe Golden Tricorn. And the origin trait is what? Classic Contender? Yeah, Classic Contender. Okay, where do we put this thing? Well, this thing is obviously better than Dimensional. I don't know. I haven't seen really how potent this thing is in like a GM if you're trying to add clear with it. Because the ammo econ should be okay, but I don't know how good it is. Let me consult my sheet. If it's better than a Rapid for DPS, then, you know. So we have Hullabaloo here. This is a Cascade, right? We have an Adaptive GL here. And then we have a Rapid. It's like similar. They're like similar. So that's not, the total damage difference isn't even that bad, actually, to be honest. Yeah, this should be a lot higher then. I don't think it's A tier. I think it's bottom. I think it's top of B tier. I think it's top of B tier. Because everything else above here is like significantly better. Okay, and then is there any readjustments we have to make with the reserve buffs in mind? I don't think so. Let's go to swords next. We have to talk about the Slammer. So this weapon's fate is kind of up to whether or not Bungie allows us to enhance non-raid adepts in the future. If they do, then it will be very good. Otherwise, it will be okay. Okay, what's our charge rate? 20, I assume. Oh god. Okay, sword reserves, 60, which is pretty normal. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here. The Slammer has attrition orbs, which sucks. Relentless strikes, which is useless on a sword like this. Eager edge, which is great. And then we have chain reaction. I could see maybe using chain reaction. Maybe. Ever so slightly, maybe. Chain reaction, cold steel or something, I don't know. And then definitely, first in slot here, I would say cold steel. And then also, demolitionist. Demolitionist is also good. Eager edge, cold steel is pretty fire though. That's a pretty fire combo. Okay, we got Vanguard's Vindication and Stunning Recovery. I think Stunning Recovery. Vanguard's Vindication is like almost an unnoticeable origin trait. Okay, now comes the part where we rank it. So where do we think the Slammer goes? It's just the movement sword, and it's just utility. I think it is better than Half-Truths. I think I put it top of A tier. I think top of A tier is fine. I don't think any of the other swords need to move. I spent a fair amount of time dealing with these, because I think it is more useful than like a Caretaker, but I don't know if it's as useful as the other half yet, because it's not enhanceable. If it does become enhanceable at some point, it will jump to the top of S tier most likely, or like in the middle of S tier. Is bait and switch not worth consideration? No. Bait and switch on a vortex frame. Okay, let's just clear the air here, because so many people are asking me, Aegis, what if you did bait and switch swaps with the sword? Wouldn't it be good if you did horseman swaps with the sword? No, the answer is no. Vortex frames suck for DPS, okay? So let's just look at swords only here, right? Not even like looking at rockets or GLs or whatever. Let's look at swords only, okay? Do you want to know where the top vortex frame is on this list? Here, in the middle of the list, okay? A vortex frame with enhanced surrounded, which is the best damage perk a sword can get, is below Lament. It is below Lament, okay? At 109k DPS, and Bequest does 138k, so it's not even close. Listen, I tried to make sword swaps a thing. I did it with Heart Shadow. I tried to do it with like Crown Splitter. I tried to do it with a caster frame sword. It doesn't work, okay? Sword swap DPS is just not very good. If you go to sword over here, the swap DPS of an aggressive sword with surrounded is like 120k. That's like not very good. So that's the deal with bait and switch swapping with a sword. It sucks. Don't do it. Moving on, rockets. Okay, so rockets I had a question about, because we don't have any new rockets, I don't think. I'm actually kind of interested in re-ranking some of the rockets here, and that's for a number of reasons. So first of all, I'm going to re-rank Crux Termination. It's going to go into A tier. And the reason for that is because Crux Termination is an aggressive frame, and it was basically the best arc rocket for GMs, because it has a high damage frame, it has good reserves, it had 10 reserves, it has a shit ton of good perks for a rocket that's used in GMs, right? It has Reconstruction, Bipod, Slide Shot, Explosive Light, Clown, right? 5 like really, really good perks for GMs. But now it loses on 2 shots, right? It loses out on 2 shots that stuff like Breech Osprey has access to. So Sleepless, you know, realistically, would I use a Field Bipod Sleepless, or like a Slide Bipod or Clown Bipod or Recon Bipod Crux? That's pretty much up for debate, right? So I think I'm going to start moving some of the high impacts maybe into A tier, and start moving some of these rockets down into B tier. I think Breech Osprey will move up. Hezen has pretty much no use now. I was going to say, you know, you could use it in GMs because it's an aggressive, it has a lot of ammo, it's a solar rocket, you know, you could use it instead of like Apex, but now there's not really a reason to. Like Code Duello is like straight up better in that case. I think Semio also deserves to be up here as well. I think Sleepless also deserves to be up here as well, unless there's some sort of like reserve issue with it. I think Blowout might move down to B tier. Bump in the Night definitely is going to move down into B tier. I don't see any of these rockets. I think Apex remains alone in S. I think Apex remains alone in S. I think Code Duello probably gets moved into B tier. So does Tomorrow's Answer, and so does Roar of the Bear. I think Palmyra should probably stay in the C tier, but probably moved up a little bit, just because of that that reserve change. I don't know, the bottom end of this list is very hard to reconcile, because they're all precisions, and they all have the reserve buff, but I can't move all of them into C tier. So I could just I could leave the bottom half just kind of how it is right now. I think Crowning Duologue might move into C. So in the A tier, what is like the best rocket in the A tier? I think Crux is still the best rocket in the A tier. I think Cold Comfort is fine where it is. Hothead, I mean, Hothead is kind of like, why would you ever use this thing over Crux now? There is like no reason to ever use this thing over Crux now, unless you want specifically Demo Explosive. But like, that's not used in much these days. So I think Breech Osprey goes over Hothead. I think Sleepless goes above Semio. I think having Auto is more useful than having EL for GMs. Blowout can stay in A tier. Also, this thing also gets Frenzy, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, I think this gets Frenzy. So I should put that in the list. I think Code Duello and Tomorrow's Answer should be moved up, just because... Yeah. I'm trying to like rationalize here. Or actually, Roar the Bear is probably a better GM rocket than Code Duello. Or they're probably similar. They should be like right next to each other. These are both good GM rockets now. If you want a solar rocket. If you want a void rocket, you have Braytech, so this can probably move down. This is basically explicitly a jam rocket, so this Tomorrow's Answer is better than that. Auto Cluster, I would take that over Field Frenzy or Field Tricorn Red Herring. And then what do we have? Hezen Vengeance. Yeah, I think Tomorrow's Answer is probably above Hezen for GMs. I think this tier list right now is fine. I'll have to explain myself, but yeah, basically High Impacts got shifted up because they got a reserve buff, which is why before you wanted to take like an aggressive frame into GMs, but now High Impacts are, I think with +2 rockets, more useful in GMs. So stuff like Braytech really gets a chance to shine with like Envious Bipod, Field Bipod. Really great. Also has Auto Bipod if I'm not mistaken. Cluster Bipod is good as well. Okay. Linear Fusions. I don't think we have anything to talk about in Linear Fusions. I don't think anything changed. Let's talk about Primaries and then we're going to be done with this video. So if you guys are not familiar, the way I do Primaries is instead of tiering them, because that would be 900 million Primaries out of the tier, I just take the best weapons that I think are like the top choices. So okay, one thing I want to address, since this is a tier list update, a lot of people were complaining the energy SMGs that I did not mention Callus Mini Tool. I think Callus Mini Tool is worse than both the SMGs I've listed here. It's not that Callus Mini Tool is bad, it's just that we have so many good energy SMGs and I don't think that it is better than these two. So Showrunner is getting kicked out, that's for sure, and we are replacing it with Multi-Mach. So on this gun, I think you would want to take Attrition Orbs or Under Over and Frenzy or Kinetic Tremors. This actually completely removes the need to have Unending Tempest on this list because it has Under Over and Frenzy, which is good for like barrier champions. And it also has Kinetic Tremors and Attrition Orbs, which is like kind of makes Cold Front useless as well. So I'm just going to delete this rogue. And then I think Submission is still a fine alt option. Yeah, I think it's still more valuable than the Showrunner. Relentless Pulse Rifle. So in the Kinetic Pulse Rifle slots, we have Battle Scar and Stay Frosty. Is this better than Battle Scar? I don't think so. Yeah, no. It's a high impact as well. Adjudicator. Okay, so this thing has... Yeah, this thing has sub KT. It is a much worse frame for PvE than Multi-Mach. Oh my god, look at that reload speed. Outside of its PvP prowess, I mean, it has decent perks. I don't think it's better than what we have here. I mean, I think I could put it as an alternative, actually. I think it might be better than Submission, because it has sub Frenzy, which Submission also has, but it also has Onslaught as well, and Kinetic Tremors, which is more interesting than I think what Submission has to offer. Is there anything else here? Oh, Threat Detector as well? Oh my god, wait, this is actually pretty good SMG. It's got lots of stuff. Lots of good stuff. Okay, we like that. Let's move on. Summoner. Auto Rifle, Energy. We have Abyss Defiant. So this has what? Sub? Well, let's see. Let me go multi-select mode. We have Sub, we have Onslaught, we have Incandescent, which is nice. We have Heal Clip as well. Wow, this is actually pretty good. What do we have on Abyss Defiant? Enlightened Action and Incandescent, right? I think this might replace the alternative. I think Abyss Defiant might still be better. Abyss has good range for like GMs and stuff. And it is craftable and it has Cursed Thrall. And Enlightened Action is like a better perk for GMs than like anything in the first column here. I'll put it as an alternative, but they're certainly pretty close together. I think it is better than Rosarago though. Moving on, Judgment. Yeah, this thing. I think, yeah, Headstone first column. Demo Time Payload would be what you're looking at, or Enlightened Action Time Payload. It's just worse than Fatebringer. There's literally no reason to use anything but Fatebringer in the first column right now. Profit. Yeah, this is just archetype alone is just awful in PvE. Prosecutor, Precision Frame Auto, not great. What do we have? Dragonfly Frenzy is not bad. I don't think this competes with like Summoner or Abyss Defiant. I mean, it does have Dragonfly Volt Shot. That's like not horrible. I could be wrong though, actually. I don't know how potent that is. We'll see. Darkest Before. I was told that the Incandescent Scorch Ticks on this weapon proc Attrition Orbs. Yeah. So because they proc Attrition Orbs, I guess this gun would be pretty decent at producing a lot of orbs. So Pulse Rifle in the energy slot, we have Insidious, which is for champ stunning. Okay, we're more looking at the ad clear side of things. We have Enlightened Action, Voltshot, and Oversoul Edict. I have to say, after using Oversoul Edict, it is pretty good. It feels good, it tears the rads, and this perk combo is great. So I don't know if it's better than that. Is it better than BXR? It might be. I don't think Demo is as useful anymore. And I think Attrition Orbs Incand is pretty interesting. The only problem is I don't think this thing has any reload buffs. I mean, how high can you get this thing's reload? 60. Okay, that's not too bad. I think I'm going to replace BXR with Darkest Before. So we're going to go Attrition Orbs, and it has Heal Clip as well. Post buff Heal Clip is pretty good. We have the title, which is shit. So we don't need to talk about that. And finally, we have Taraxipos, which is also shit. And that's it. that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it through every single legendary weapon in the game. New weapons. I think all the tier lists are stable. In the next video, I will revisit my exotic weapon tier list. As you can see here, we have restructured it quite a lot. I'm also working on this, which if you haven't seen it already, go check out the spreadsheet. I'm working on making a build for every single armor exotic in the game, because a lot of you were like, hey, you should check out this G minor scatter grenade build. And I, some people in my chat were like, haha, very funny, that sounds horrible. But, I want to try it. I want to put my money where my mouth is. I want to try it. I'm going to go ahead in GM farms, especially 2 weeks from now when the Slammer is the Adept. I'm going to go and try literally every single one of these builds. So if you don't believe me, if I go to my dim right now, and you go ahead and look at my Hunter, right? My Hunter, all the builds are done. So you can see there's a dim build for every single exotic in the game on Hunter. Origin traits with crossing over, and some of these are probably going to be readjusted again from last season. And perks as well. There's, I think, a couple new perks that should be added to this list, which we will talk about and probably shift around this tier list. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.